the cruise in February, I became a real believer. And I really feel like, Simon Sinek said at convention that he thinks he may have found the recipe for world peace in the LuLaRoe culture. And I am not surprised if he is able to tie that to our biology, like he is, starting with your why and leadership, how he's able to tie those two principles to our biology. I would not be surprised if he goes out there and researches the LuLaRoe culture of serving others, loving others, strengthening families, and is able to tie it to our biology. I would not be surprised if he's able to do that in the future. And I think that would be amazing, because I do believe that the culture is what really drives the business. But I didn't know about the culture, so I'm going to start from the beginning. All of what Ashleigh just explained to you in trying to build her business, I had no idea what she was doing. And a lot of it was because I was stubborn and I did not want to know, because I felt like every time LuLaRoe came up in conversation, it would lead to an argument. And we went through a pretty rough patch there for a little while. Like Ashleigh said, she's been doing LuLaRoe since the beginning. She was actually the third consultant. I think Brittany Hunter was the first, and the second was Jamie Bagley. And then it was Ashleigh, my wife, and then Ashley Hilliard. Ashley Hilliard was the fourth. I don't know who the fifth is. Sorry, I don't know that. But anyways, we had just graduated from college. We had a 16-month-old and a 7-month-old. And we were moving from Hawaii, our home state, to Washington State because of the Army. I was a brand new second lieutenant in the Army. I was moving to a new unit, a brand new unit. So I had to develop rapport with my commanding officers in the new unit, and I had to kind of prove myself, because nobody knew me. I was new to the unit, and every time you go to a new unit of the Army, you have to build rapport with your superiors and establish yourself as a leader. So we're in Washington State, and I'm busy leaving the house before the sun comes up and coming home after the sun has gone down. And Ashleigh one day is trying to figure out how to purchase a maxi skirt on, she sees her friend wearing a cute maxi skirt on Instagram. So she gets online and tries to figure out how to purchase one, because at the time we were expecting our third. And she couldn't figure out how to purchase it online. LuLaRoe hadn't gone official yet. She ended up instead getting a call from Deanne, and Deanne kind of asked her, about our family situation, asked Ashleigh about her story. Ashleigh told her we were new to the area. We didn't really know anyone in Washington State, and she wanted to be home after both of us being full-time students for 3 years in college and having 2 little children while we were full-time students. We were busy, and Ashleigh just wanted to be home with the kids, because my job was very demanding and time-consuming in the Army. And Deanne said, well, you could do this and still be at home. So Deanne offered to send her 100 maxi skirts and told her, don't worry about paying me now. Just get out there, put yourself out there and sell those skirts and pay me back whenever you sell the skirts. And Ashleigh was, kind of afraid of Deanne sending all that inventory from California to Washington State. So Ashleigh was like, what if I'm not able to sell it, Deanne? Can I send it back? And Deanne, said, what do you mean? I thought you wanted to make some extra cash for your family. Just get out there and sell it. And true Deanne fashion, Deanne can pump up. I think Deanne is very good at pumping up others and in motivating others and inspiring others. So I come home from work that day, and Ashleigh tells me she's really excited about this phone call she had with Deanne. And it's not the first. And when I heard direct sales, it kind of turned me off immediately. It wasn't the first direct sales company that Ashleigh had been involved with. So I just kind of shrugged it off, thought it was just another hobby that Ashleigh wanted to be a part of, another direct sales company. And I said, okay, babe, that's great, And I was busy with the Army, and I said, that's great, you go ahead and do your thing. I'm busy saving the world. I kind of said it like that jokingly, as I was in the Army. I would later unexpectedly deploy a couple months later, and I wasn't expecting to deploy. It was kind of a last-minute deployment. So I was gone for the birth of our third child while I was deployed. So I was deployed for 9 months, and during that time, LuLaRoe went official on 1 May 2013, and Ashleigh was the first consultant in Washington State. And so that during that whole 9 months, I was deployed, so I wasn't home to give Ashleigh grief about LuLaRoe and about her being away a lot doing LuLaRoe. And I come home from my deployment, and Ashleigh has built this customer base and kind of this, pop-up boutique business that, has a and she's gone. And I'm coming home from a 9-month deployment, you know, meeting my now 3-4-month-old daughter for the first time in her life. And I'm still working long hours, and Ashleigh is busy doing these pop-ups. And I didn't really like it. I felt like I had lost 9 months of their time, and I wanted Ashleigh to be home when I wasn't working, because I figured, you know, what's the use of making all this extra cash if we never have time to spend time together? You know, what use is all the money if we don't, you know, I felt like we were just working for all the money and we can't even spend it on each other as a family, spending quality time as a family. So I was kind of short-sighted, and I didn't like LuLaRoe, and I started to become very resentful of LuLaRoe because of that. I would leave. Ashleigh could only do parties in the evenings when I was home, and on the weekends if I wasn't working that weekend. So I started to become resentful of her business, and I started associating it with LuLaRoe taking Ashleigh and my valuable family time away from me. And we went through a pretty rough patch in our marriage, and it got to a point where I deliberately told myself in my head, look, I'm just not going to bring it up whenever I'm with Ashleigh, because I do not want to get in an argument with her. I'd rather have peace in our home. So I blocked out everything LuLaRoe without even trying to learn what it was about or learn the culture. Ashleigh would try and invite me to leadership trainings or to convention, and I didn't want to go. And I had a good excuse not to go, because that's just an extra plane ticket we had to pay for out of pocket. That's how I viewed it. So the cruise played a big part in that, because the cruise was free. So I didn't really have an excuse. I didn't really have a way out. I tried really hard to make an excuse. I actually said, you know what, Ash? So there were 2 cruises, one in February and one in March. And initially we were going to go to the one in March, but March was a very busy month for me at work. There was a change of command happening, which involved a lot of my time and effort and me being present at work. So I initially told Ashleigh, no, I can't go. You know, just take your sister. Her sister was working for her as her assistant. Just take your sister. That's fine. I don't really want to go anyways, because I still had a bad taste in my mouth about LuLaRoe without even knowing what LuLaRoe really stood for. But then Ashleigh was able to get, some slots opened up in February, and Ashleigh got a slot for February to go on the cruise. And then now, February, it was easier for me to get time off work in February and March. So I didn't really have a good excuse now. And I still didn't want to go, for the sole reason that I associated LuLaRoe with taking my valuable family time away from me and for creating all this contention in Ashleigh and I's marriage. But I said, okay, I'll go. You know what? I'll go. So, we got to the cruise, and even then, I was still busy with work in February. I was always busy, I felt like, and we left to the cruise, and I still, I kind of just went just to go and just had to please Ashleigh, so we wouldn't get in an argument. And I really didn't want to be there, and it was my first time in my life on a cruise, and I even told Ashleigh, why do I want to experience a cruise, my first cruise ever in my life, with a bunch of strangers I do not even know, without my children? Why would I want to experience my first cruise in my life without my children? That just seems wrong. I remember telling that to Ashley, just trying to make an excuse, because I really associated LuLaRoe with not a good thing in my life. And again, I was really selfish, and I was short-sighted in that aspect. And then we go on the cruise, right? And I didn't know how much work. I didn't even know how much work Ashleigh had to do to get on the cruise to begin with. Because again, I was just trying to block out LuLaRoe out of my head, so it wouldn't create, these contentious thoughts and these resentful thoughts in my mind. So I don't know what she had to do to get on the cruise. I learned that after I was on the cruise. So that's kind of how stubborn I was and how selfish I was. So we get on the cruise, and we actually got to sit down with Mark and Deanne, and it was funny because people, Ashleigh's friends, would see me meeting the home office team and introducing myself for the first time, but they know Ashleigh has been with LuLaRoe since the very beginning. So they're kind of confused. They're like, wait, what's going on? Yasi, you've never met them? But they didn't really know that I resented LuLaRoe, and I didn't want anything to do with it. So they were confused when I was meeting the home office team for the first time. But anyways, we got to sit down with Mark and Deanne for dinner on the cruise. And I really got to feel of their genuine love and care and generosity for everyone involved with LuLaRoe, for all the consultants. And the first day on the cruise, which was Super Bowl Sunday, and so the Super Bowl was awesome. I'm a big football fan, so I was really excited to be able to watch. I really like that part. I didn't complain about that part, watching the Super Bowl on the cruise. But they bring everyone together the first night on the cruise to welcome everyone and have a little launch party and hand out cruise cash to all the consultants that qualified to receive cruise cash. And they're blazing. And this, keep in mind, this is my first LuLaRoe. Ashleigh has been with LuLaRoe. This is almost 3 years now. And this is my first ever LuLaRoe event, experiencing it in person. And we're there, and they're having a launch party, and everyone's dancing. If you've ever been to a LuLaRoe event, you know what's up. You know, the music is blazing. People are laughing, having a good time. And, you know, and they start handing out all this cruise cash. And a lot of these consultants weren't expecting this cruise cash. So a lot of them felt very grateful and overwhelmed with gratitude, with this generosity that Mark and Deanne was just throwing at them. They were just literally throwing money at them. There were $1,000 checks and $3,000 checks of cruise cash, just giving it to consultants for making the sacrifice. You know, because it is a sacrifice to take a week away from your kids to you know, set up daycare and to go on that cruise to be with like-minded individuals in the company who are all striving to achieve the same goal of living their dreams. And so they were thanking them by giving them cruise cash. And this is my first time at a LuLaRoe event. And I'm looking around and everyone's having a great time, right? And I'm still thinking I don't like LuLaRoe in my mind. And everyone's having a great time, laughing, hugging, crying tears of gratitude. And I remember looking around in the room, and I had never really experienced something like this in my life. So I'm looking around and I'm thinking to myself in my head, what in the world is going on here? And in that moment is where I really got to feel what LuLaRoe was all about and what its culture really stood for. And in that moment, you know, and it kind of aligned well to that Ashleigh hit coach in the month of January. So she got to receive her check amount on the cruise from Deanne, and her check tripled. And, you know, she would always tell me that her goal was to make $50,000 bonus checks. And I just thought that was outrageous. I was like, okay. I never tried to, you know, I never tried to discredit her dream. I just thought it was just like a pipe dream, and that it was just, I didn't think it was possible, because again, I wasn't trying to learn the compensation plan. I wasn't trying to learn what LuLaRoe was all about. I wasn't trying to learn about the business opportunity. I wasn't trying to learn about the culture and the potential of the business. So I knew nothing about it. So every time she would tell me her goals, I just thought, okay, that's good. And I would think in my head, I'll believe it when I see it. And it happened all at the same time on the cruise, while I'm learning the LuLaRoe culture and while I'm learning what LuLaRoe really stands for. And then it kind of all aligned. And then I was able to see the tangible potential of what the business has to offer and what the potential is. So we come back from the cruise in February, and I start telling, you know, I jokingly tell people, you know, I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid. Some people say they're not drinking the Kool-Aid, they're swimming in the Kool-Aid. I wasn't even swimming in the Kool-Aid. I was pumping it through my veins via IV. That's how much I had bought into what LuLaRoe was all about and what the culture was all about. Because there are three things that really drive my why, and I'll share it in a little bit. But I was really able to see how LuLaRoe could not only bless our family's lives, but could also bless other people's lives. And to me, that was a very powerful thing that really tapped into my why that I had lost through the daily grind of military service and trying to raise and provide for a family of 5. I had kind of lost that why that I had learned as a young teenager and a young adult. We come off the cruise, and I have a totally different perspective. I literally do a 180 on my view of LuLaRoe, and because I'm able to see what the potential in it is, and what it can really do for not only our families but for everyone's family. Because it really is an amazing opportunity And since the cruise in February, we were able to go on vacation to our home state in Hawaii for the first time in 4 years. And we would have never been able to do that with just my Army salary alone. That would have been a very, demand financial. We would have to stretch and go into debt to go on a vacation for a family of 5 to Hawaii for a couple of weeks. But while we were also in Hawaii, we were able to hold a training for Ashleigh's team in Hawaii in Waikiki, and we invited all the husbands as well, so that because I wanted to, sit at the table and break bread with these other guys, because I didn't want them to have to go through my closed-minded selfishness that I went through the first almost 3 years Ashleigh was doing LuLaRoe. So since the cruise, we were able to go to Hawaii because of LuLaRoe, and we were able to spend more, and we were able to make the time count that we spent together as a family. So I was able to see that, look, LuLaRoe can really make the time you spend as a family count. So that really told me that my valuable family time can be even more with the freedom that LuLaRoe can provide. And learning the LuLaRoe culture and seeing its potential really tapped into my why, and why that I had kind of lost over the years through trying to provide it for and raise a family of 5, and through the daily grind of military service and having 3 children and being deployed for 2 of those 3 children's births. I kind of lost that why, and on my Army salary alone, we were okay, but we could never pay for extra nice things like a family vacation or other nice things that we can do with LuLaRoe now. So there are 3 things. So my why, I'll tell you, my why derives from a quote that I heard as a teenager or as a young single adult. And it's a quote by a guy by the name of Heber J. Grant. And he states that the true key to happiness in this life is laboring for the happiness of others. Laboring for the happiness of others. I've always known that to be true, because I believe that when you are always looking to improve the lives of others, looking to make other people happy, when you are always willing to get outside of yourselves and put yourself last and put others first, that kind of does something powerful. It takes your mind away from your own personal trials in life. It takes your mind away from what's going wrong in your personal life. And it focuses your mind on trying to help other people's lives become better. And I think that's where we are able to see that provides perspective for our own personal lives, because when we are able to help others, sometimes we realize, wow, I thought, I had it bad because of this, but I didn't. Because you see that when you try to help others, that you actually, you're able to see what you have and what you're most grateful for. And I think that's why we are happier when we put others before ourselves. So 3 things have driven my why to try and serve others and labor for the happiness of others. 1, I grew up in the Polynesian culture. I'm Tongan. I grew up in the islands of Hawaii. My parents were immigrants from the island of Tonga, which is a small, tiny island in the South Pacific. And they immigrated to Hawaii, met in college, and I was raised in the Polynesian culture. In the Polynesian culture, we are taught to really respect our elders, never question our elders or answer back to them. And we are really taught that we are very family-oriented and service-oriented. So, we are taught to put others before ourselves. So it was not uncommon on any given day or week to have a totally random stranger staying at our house, because my mom would always open our house up to random strangers, and she would say that they were family, but I had never met them in my life, and I never saw them after they left our house. And while I complained about it as a child and a teenager, as I grew up and I look back on that, I see what she was trying to do. She was trying to serve others and because it's not about us and our walk in this life. It's about being able to bless the lives of others. I think that's where we really find ourselves and our true happiness in this life. And then 2nd, I grew up in a faith that is very service oriented as well, where we don't get paid to be a pastor. We call them bishops, but we don't get paid to be a clergymen in our faith. We're just asked to give of our time, resources, and energy, and not expect anything in return. And we still work civilian careers, but we still serve in our church without expecting any monetary compensation or anything in return, because we all believe that we are all children of God and that we're all here to work to get to back to our loving Heavenly Father in heaven. And if we're not helping others get back there, then what is the point of being here? That's what we believe in our faith. And then third, serving in the military and being able to experience the culture of being something greater than yourself, being able to experience that brotherhood and sisterhood in the military, where you look out for your battle buddy next to you before yourself. You're willing to put your life on the line for the man or woman next to you in the military. And those three things have really driven my why and my desire to want to serve others. Now, that was difficult. It was difficult to try and serve others outside of my immediate family with just my Army salary alone, because we just did not have the resources, aka the money, to be able to try and serve others and bless others' lives with just my Army salary alone. Now with LuLaRoe, our cup has overflown, and once it overfloweth, what do you do with that? You pay it forward. You pay forward the blessings you have received from LuLaRoe, and you try and serve others, whether that be your teammates, trying to get them to where you are at, or try to get them to, receive the blessings that you've received from LuLaRoe, or your customers, whether it's making them feel beautiful in the clothes, or letting them know that no matter what shape or size you are, you should always be able to feel beautiful when you put clothes on, And Patrick talks about that, and I really like Patrick's why. And if you don't know his why, look it up, because it's a really touching why. And then I'll close with this. So I'm a very observant individual. I've always tried to observe the successful leaders within the Army and within corporate America, and I try to pay attention and read their biography and see what it is that they did in their lives to get to where they're at. And since being on board, I've only been on board with LuLaRoe for about 5 or 6 months now, since February. So I have a lot of catching up and learning to do. But since being on board in February, I have tried to really remain observant of what it is that the top leaders in the companies do to become highly successful. And what I have noticed, in my opinion, and from what I've learned, that they are normal people like you and I. They are really normal people like you and I, but they have learned to really master the basics that the home office team is trying to get through to us. They really have learned. And those basics include working that 72-hour game plan, filling up your calendar, investing in your inventory so you have a wide array and selection for your customers to shop from. Cruise qualifying. I believe cruise qualifying, meeting that 12,000 in sales a month, is a skill that needs to be learned as a LuLaRoe consultant right off the bat, because all of that other stuff, cruise qualifying and all of that other basics, all go hand in hand. If you're working that 72-hour game plan, if your calendar is full, if you have a good selection in inventory, there's no reason why you can't meet that 12,000 a month. And if you're not meeting that 12,000 a month, in my opinion, that just means you need to get the clothes in front of more eyes. If your calendar is already full, that just means you need to get the clothes in front of more eyes, which means making new connections. Or if your calendar is not full and you're not meeting that $12,000 a month, that means you just need to fill up that calendar so it is full. So I think all of those basics tie together. And this is my challenge and my invitation to all of you. If you learn to master these basics that home office teaches you and that your upline leaders teach you, because they're not just trying to teach it to us for their health. They're trying to teach it to us because it works. But if you learn to master those basics, my promise to you is that there will come a point in your business with LuLaRoe that you will have more than enough and your cup will overflow. And then you will look around and you will say, a lot of times we think there's nothing we can do to pay, and then you'll feel an overwhelming gratitude to Mark and Deanne for creating this wonderful business opportunity that has changed your family's lives and the lives of your teammates. And then you'll think there's nothing I can do to pay back Mark and Deanne for what they've blessed our family with. But you know what? When your cup has overflowed, there is something you can do. You can pay forward those blessings that Mark and Deanne has blessed all of us with. And I promise you those blessings will come and your cup will overflow if you learn to master those basics. There will come a tipping point in your business that will happen. And then when it does, you will be filled with overwhelming gratitude. So you will want to pay that forward and see the same success in your team members and those around you. I want to express my love and gratitude for all of you. Oh, what do I do in the business now?
Brittany's texting me and asking. So tell him what you do. He's the master of shipping and invoicing when he's home. Master.
So I created my
We appreciate that as women, I swear.
I'm like, dude, ship it all. Thank you.
So I saw
go and get a pedicure.
I saw another Lula Bros Instagram profile today, and on the description it said he is the director of shipping labels. But so, Ashleigh, she makes, I'm an introvert at heart, believe it or not. Socializing LuLaRoe events is exhausting to me.
He comes home and he's like,
but I have
so much.
But it's so much fun. It's so much fun. But I am exhausted after LuLaRoe events. But what I do for right now, I'm in South Carolina, and Ashleigh and family is in Tacoma, Washington. I'm just working here until I can get out the Army in December because of LuLaRoe. Ashleigh is able to retire me from the Army, which I'm grateful for, and I'm extremely grateful for. I kind of created my own position within Ashleigh's company as the Chief Operations Officer. So I'm her COO. But mostly I have a lot of leadership experience in the Army. So I try to offer leadership advice to Ashleigh in dealing with different personalities, because I'm sure you guys all get the different types of personalities with your teammates. And just like children, what might work for one child might not work for another child. So you got to be creative in your leadership philosophies and how you lead different types of team members. So I try to offer a lot of leadership advice to Ashleigh, and I'm a detail-oriented guy, so I pay attention to a lot of details, so I'm able to notice trends within the business. So I try to keep track of the data stuff for Ashleigh and notice those trends. And also, I try and keep track of the data for her teammates too. So, if a teammate is doing well in sales that month, we can invite them to help to share some of their tips and tricks with their, because just if you're a consultant and you might not have a team, you still have a lot to share, especially if you're killing it in sales. And I also, when I am able to be home, I've learned how to invoice and all that stuff. All that stuff is not very fun to me, invoicing and online sales. but I'll do it. And it's not, I think the nuts and bolts of it is not hard to learn. I think what I really enjoy, believe it or not, even though I'm an introvert, is actually the personal connections. Because I've never been this social before.
Like his whole life.
Yeah.
Like his entire life.
Because it's difficult in the Army, because there's a lot of barriers you're not supposed to, unwritten rules you're not supposed to cross in the Army, that, in interacting with coworkers. So, I'd like to, I am I am Ashleigh's greatest cheerleader. I am. Ashleigh built the business by herself. I'll be honest with you, because I just wasn't there. I wasn't on board. But what I have learned is she doesn't really necessarily need my help to package and ship stuff and send out invoices. She can take care of all the nuts and bolts herself. Sometimes just having me be there and cheering her on in her corner means the world to her. And and I know that means a lot to your little consultants as well, because when you're able to, they value your opinion more than anyone else in the world. So whenever I'm able to grab Ashleigh by the lapels, or I guess it would be a Sarah cardigan, right? But we are in South Carolina and it's hot and humid there, so maybe it's a Joy or a Monroe. But whenever I'm able to grab her by the lapels, whenever she's having feelings of self-doubt or not believing in herself, and look her straight in the eye and tell her, babe, you know what? I believe in you. Look at what you have done. Go out there and change some lives. Stop getting in your own way. That kind of stuff means the world to them, I think.
I hope Mike is the bottom.
So I did create a list of 50 reasons why, because everyone has their own way of running their business. So I can't tell you guys what you can do as LuLaBros to support your LuLaRoe consultants. But we are taught by LuLaRoe to start with why, right? And we're taught by Simon Sinek to start with why. So I created a list of 50 reasons of why you should support your significant other LuLaRoe consultant. And I could read the entire list to you. I don't know if you guys...
But we're going to send it. We're going to send it to you because it's long.
It is long, and I think it's a rather entertaining list.
But you can read it. It's
fine. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I'm pretty sure that I shared it on our page. I may have stole it from somewhere.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, I mean, we have it distributed on the Skirt Associates, on Fashion Stars, and we will PM it to you if you want to.
So I'll just re-tag you guys if you want to find it. Let me know.
But I do want to add... Wait, I want to add, so I live in Tacoma, Washington, and he's in South Carolina right now. I'm just visiting for a day. So I went down to Oregon to train some of my girls, my next girl who's going to hit coach. So I went down to train her team, and her husband has quit his job. He just headed up a huge project building a movie theater in our little town on the water. He was the head of construction there, and he quit his job to do LuLaRoe with his wife. So they have this beautiful home out in the country, and their home costs $750,000, and they do LuLaRoe and pay for that home, right? Like, they're killing it. And so we were there and we're training, and he's talking about how he's home with his wife, and one of the girls raises her hand and she's like, I mean, no offense, but what do you even do? Right? And he's like, well, I mean, I ship packages. And I could tell that he felt a little bit like, well, shoot, it's a little embarrassing, because, he just fills in where he needs to, and he is her biggest cheerleader. So what I added to that is, when I'm a mom and I started this business to be a stay-at-home mom, and it quickly grew bigger than I ever thought it would be. It is huge, it is busy, and it is a big undertaking. And I am 100% committed, and I am all in with this business. But sometimes I feel a little bit guilty about the time I spend away from my kids. And sometimes I feel like I wish that I could have more time with them. But when he's home and he can be the one taking the kids to the park, and he can be the one picking up that slack, I feel zero guilt. And that is my dream. And so I feel like, if your husband being home with you, that lines up with your goal, awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But, talk to your significant other about what your mutual goals are, and find that point where you can look together, right? And then the rest kind of falls together. So,
yeah. So, and I will add, if I have a few minutes left, I will add that for a long time, I thought our family goal was for me to do 20 years in the Army, retire at the age of 42, get out, work towards a second retirement, retire at the age of 62, and have 2 retirements, and we'll be set. I thought that was our goal. But, LuLaRoe came in the picture and really shook things up. And I was still operating on what I thought that was still our goal, where Ashleigh had seen this potential with LuLaRoe where we could have more and have, be able and not be tied down to the demands of the Army. And I wasn't able to see that and realize that. And so communicate what your goals are and how LuLaRoe has maybe changed your family goals to your significant others, because it happens quickly. I'm not the only one that has decided to quit my day job this year alone. It all happened really quickly. There's a lot of coaches and mentors whose significant others just decided this year, within the span of a month or two, to just quit their jobs, because it changes quickly, because the potential with LuLaRoe and the rapid growth that has happened this year, it'll happen quickly. So make sure that you guys communicate your guys' goals to each other, and make sure that what you thought was your family goals 5 years ago is still the family goal, because it might have changed in your consultant's eyes with the potential that LuLaRoe has in store. So I just wanted to add that. So other than that, Ashleigh, you have anything else you'd like to share? I thank you guys for having us. Is
someone from Tacoma? Mindy, are you from Tacoma?
Mindy White.
Anyway, we love Tacoma. We are going to make it our home. And yes, you are welcome to join this Facebook group that Ronnie posted. I remember you were with Miley, maybe. Anyway, I do remember that. Yes, Tacoma's the bomb. All right. So
So
anyway,
you guys are together for one day today, and you guys shared time to be with Michelle and her team. So I just want to give you guys a huge shout out for taking the time to do that.
of course,
You guys
we're
are
so
awesome.
happy to.
Well-
Anytime.
And I'm happy to get to know you finally, Ash.
I know. It's a busy life, man.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having us. We appreciate it. And, you know, yeah, I do enjoy doing this kind of stuff now because I see that it's not about, you know, us. It's about...
Mindy said she was having a horrible allergic reaction. Her eyes were all swollen up.
Oh.
I don't remember that. Maybe you just looked gorgeous to me. It's all good. Anyway, thank you for having us, you guys.
Yeah,
And
thank you, Brittany.
feel free to
Thank
call or
you,
text if you have any
Michelle.
You guys so much.
other questions.
I was just going to say, when you were saying about the husbands, whether or not that's staying home or not, I think one thing that hit me at convention was allowing my husband that choice and that freedom. So if he doesn't want to stay home with me, that's okay. So our particular situation, he's a federal fireman. And he loves his job. He loves being a fireman, but the federal schedule is a little bit crazy. He's on 24, off 24, on 24, off 24. And if he gets forced for overtime, he's gone for 72 hours. So he's asked me for years, can he go city? Well, city is a huge pay drop. Like, can't take that. And he was recently, right before convention, transferred to a crash truck. He works on base. So he literally just sits there for hours at a time on shifts, just waiting for a plane to possibly crash. So he's not really doing the job that he wanted to do before. And so I'm hoping with LuLaRoe, even if he doesn't want to come home from that job that he now hates, if he wants to now go to the city and still work that same job that he loves, but where he actually loves it, that I'm hoping to give him that freedom. So and I wanted to tell all of you guys who are on the Pumped Up Chicks team that the LuLaRoe Pumped Up Bros are having a sale. You can teach your husband new things because mine made a graphic today.
Woohoo! So awesome.
I taught him how to upload all the photos. We had to talk about how to make an album for every single style and size because I'm making him do the entire sale by himself. And so if any of you guys on the Pumped Up Chicks team want to join that sale, it's on the 3rd. So message me or message Brittany. I'm volunteering her just because Ryan's the head of that page. And so we'd be able to get you to the right place to do that sale. So does anybody else?
And I did have to pull teeth to get him to put that together, like literally pull teeth. So it doesn't, you guys don't, and I had a good talk with a girl today too. If find out how they want to be involved for sure. Just like Yasi, like it's, you know, they kind of choose what works best for them and what they feel comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think here, when I said, does anybody have any questions? You said,
Oh, yeah, he wanted to pipe in. That's right.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
So first of all, Yasi and Ashleigh, thank you both so much for your service. That's first and foremost. I know that's a huge demand on you, Yasi, and a huge one on you too, Ashleigh, and that's inspiring on its own. Secondly, so everything you've said tonight has really resonated with me in a huge way. I don't think I've ever really been like anti-LuLaRoe per se, but I've had when Nicole got on board with this, I never wanted to make it mine, and I have a tendency to kind of railroad her because I have a louder personality than she does. I'm a theater kid. I just grew up sort of in age. But so when she went to convention, I opted to jump in and run a sale for her and did a live sale and just kind of went crazy and put on some leggings with a Batman t-shirt because Batman. And,
That's right.
really well, and I think that was what showed Nicole that I was on board.
Yeah.
If I had to say what my why is, it's because it's to see Nicole empowered and enabled to go and do this. And to see how she's blossomed just since February is the money. I don't care about the money. Just to see what's happened in her life and her personality is the best reward. I think one thing that's been holding me back is that I don't want to seem like that weird, creepy husband that's like, hey, ladies, try on some skirts, you know? I could be, I don't want to be like pushy, but I want to be on board. I want to be supportive. And I was a sales manager for several years. Like this is kind of
Your thing.
my thing. It's what I do.
Yeah.
What have you found any pushback? What's your experience been with Ashleigh's client base as you've continued to get more engaged?
To be honest with you, when I'm at her pop-up parties and her open houses, and when I compliment women on how they, how good they look in the clothes,
they're like, well, hey.
they actually enjoy it. I think women, enjoy a compliment coming from a guy more so sometimes.
From a good-looking guy. Go ahead.
It does. It totally makes sales. And I am good friends with a lot of my customers, so I was a little bit nervous about this. And actually, Yasi doesn't know this. First, he's heard of this. But I asked some of them, like, all right, honey, let's be real. Like, you were at my last open house. Was that weird? And they were like, no. I was like, all right, this is real talk. Like, Yasi's not here. I want to know, like, did you think that was weird that my husband was there? Because I love him being there, but I don't want it to make my customers uncomfortable. And these are girls who have shopped with me for, 2 years. And so I felt like they could be honest with me about it. And all of them were like, and I asked them individually. It wasn't like in a group, just kind of when they dropped by shopping. And they were like, no, I think it's the most amazing thing to see him supporting you. I love the positivity. I love that he's getting outside of his comfort zone. It can't be that comfortable for him. We love it. We love seeing you guys succeed and be happy together. So I think that as long as that's kind of your goal, and people like seeing that. So that's been our experience.
I think other couples like seeing couples work as a team. Mm-hmm. So I think if you have a potential consultant that is potential consultant that wants to sign up, and say she comes and her husband just happens to be there for whatever reason, or it's a team training and the husbands were invited, and to see a couple standing up there and talking about how they can work as a team and this can work for the family. It doesn't just have to be a woman's business.
Yeah,
I think that's a powerful thing for couples.
And we have 2 male consultants on our team now. Yeah. So I think that there's something to be said about that, right? That if Yasi can work it, they can work it and whatever. So.
I've actually asked Ashleigh if I could be a consultant on there, but it's against the PNP.
It's against PNP, guys.
But no, to answer your question, I think they really enjoy the compliments the women do. And I don't do it in a creepy way, obviously, or at least
it's probably good.
I'm like the Walmart greeter.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your time with us, guys. Yeah.
Any other questions before Michelle has to take us offline?
Sorry, we actually have a male on our team, but I don't think a lot of people on our team actually realize it. So I was over there doing the little chat thing.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
So we have one, and he's actually the consultant, and his wife is more like the assistant. She's kind of the background person.
So. Yeah, I totally think that males can work the business. I do. I mean, a lot of professional fashion designers are males. Patrick is a male. I think Patrick can sell anything. So.
All right, guys.
Well, you guys go spend quality time together.
Thank you.
We actually enjoy doing stuff like this. We enjoy working together.
Yeah, we do. We for sure are happy to do it.
Well, thank you guys so much. And I, of course, have their contact information. So if anybody on our team wants to send them a message and you can't find them or anything like that, let me know. And then I will repost the list. So
for sure.
Thank you, Michelle. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye. See you later.